In a small village, far away from the noise of the city, there lived a farmer named Rahim. Rahim was a simple man. He was not rich. He had no big machines. He had no workers. He had only a small piece of land, a pair of hands, and a strong heart. Every morning, before the sun rose, Rahim woke up. He washed his face with cold water from the well. He prayed for strength. Then he walked to his little field with a smile on his face. His land was not big, but to Rahim it was full of hope. Rahim believed in hard work. Hard work was his best friend. Every day he planted seeds with care. He watered them drop by drop. He pulled out the weeds. He looked at the small plants and dreamed of the day they would become tall and green. Life in the village was not easy. Sometimes Rahim's shoes had holes. Sometimes he ate only bread and rice. But he never complained. He had a dream. His dream was simple: to grow enough crops to feed his family and to sell a little in the market. Rahim repeated to himself, "Never give up, never give up." These words gave him power. He believed that even small steps taken every day could bring a big change. The village children often ran past his field. They laughed and played. They saw Rahim bending low in the hot sun, working with the soil. Some would ask, "Uncle, why do you work so much? The sun is too hot." Rahim would smile and say, "My children, the land gives back what you give to it. If you give love, water, and care, the land will give you food. Never give up on the land." This simple phrase, "never give up," became his song. He said it when he was tired. He said it when he was hungry. He said it when he looked at the empty market stalls and wished for more. Rahim's neighbors respected him. They knew he was poor, but they also knew he had something powerful: hope. Hope is like a small light in the dark. Even when everything is difficult, hope makes you walk forward. Every season, Rahim saved a little money. With this small money, he bought seeds, he bought tools, he bought fertilizer. He did not buy new clothes. He did not buy sweets. He sacrificed small joys for a bigger dream. One day, Rahim's friend Karim came to visit him. Karim worked in the city. He wore nice shoes and had clean clothes. He looked at Rahim's small farm and said, "Why do you work so hard for so little? In the city, you can earn money faster." Rahim smiled. "My friend, the land is my life. The land feeds me. The land teaches me patience. The land gives me peace. In the city, maybe I can earn more, but my heart belongs here." Karim shook his head, but deep inside he admired Rahim's spirit. Rahim was poor in money, but rich in determination. Day after day, Rahim worked. He learned to listen to the land. He knew when the soil was dry. He knew when the plants were thirsty. He knew when to plant and when to wait. His hands became rough, but his heart grew gentle.
The useful words Rahim repeated often were hard work. He said it every morning. Hope. He carried it in his heart. Never give up. He lived by these words. These simple words guided his life like stars in the night sky. At the end of each day, Rahim sat outside his small hut. He looked at the sunset. The sky turned orange and pink. He thought, "Today I worked hard. Tomorrow I will work harder. Someday my dream will grow like my crops."
The days in the village passed slowly. The sun rose, the sun set, and Rahim worked on his little farm every single day. But then, one summer, something changed. Something painful came. The rain stopped. At first, it was only 1 week without rain. Rahim said to himself, "It is normal. The rain will come soon." He waited. He watered his plants with water from the well, but the well was small. It was not enough. 2 weeks passed. The sun grew hotter and hotter. The soil began to crack. The small green plants started to turn yellow. Their leaves fell to the ground. Rahim's heart became heavy. 3 weeks passed. Still no rain. The sky was empty and hard. The clouds did not come. The birds flew away to look for water. The cows became weak. The whole village felt the pain of drought. Rahim stood in his field. He touched the dry soil with his hand. It was hot. It was dusty. It gave him nothing back. He closed his eyes and whispered, "Never give up. Never give up." But inside, his hope was shaking. The children who once laughed and played now sat quietly. Their mothers had less food to cook. Their fathers looked worried. Rahim saw his neighbors in the evening. They spoke with fear. One man said, "This year we will have no harvest." Another woman said, "Our children will sleep hungry." Someone added, "We should leave the village and find work in the city." Rahim listened. His heart was sad, but he did not speak. He went back to his little hut, sat down, and thought deeply. That night, the wind was hot. The stars looked far away. Rahim whispered, "Hard work, hope, never give up." He repeated the words again and again like a prayer. He knew he must be strong, even if the land was weak. The next morning, Rahim woke up before the sun. He looked at his field again. Many plants were dead. Some were still alive, but very weak. He felt tears in his eyes, but he wiped them quickly. "Crying will not help," he said. Instead, he decided to save whatever he could. He carried water from the well in small pots. He poured it carefully around the roots of the plants that still had green leaves. He spoke to them, "Stay alive, little ones. Stay alive. Do not give up." Day after day, Rahim worked like this. The sun burned his skin. His hands became rougher. His back hurt. But he kept moving. He kept repeating his words, "Never give up." Some neighbors saw him and asked, "Why do you work on dying plants? The land is lost. You should rest." Rahim smiled weakly and said, "If I give up now, all will be lost. If I fight a little longer, maybe something can be saved." Weeks passed. The drought became worse. Then, as if the sky wanted to test him more, a storm came. But not a storm of rain, a storm of wind and dust. The wind blew hard. It carried sand and dry leaves across the fields. The few plants that survived were bent down, some broke. Rahim ran into the storm. He tried to cover his plants with cloth, with sticks, with his own body, but the storm was stronger. When the storm was over, Rahim's field was almost empty. He stood there breathing heavily, looking at the broken stems. His heart felt like it was breaking too. For the first time, he sat down in the dirt and whispered, Maybe I cannot win." But then he remembered his father's voice. Long ago, his father had told him, "The land is like life. Sometimes it gives, sometimes it takes. But the land always respects those who respect it. Never give up, my son." Rahim closed his eyes and held those words. Slowly, he stood up. He brushed the dust from his clothes. He looked at the sky again. "I will wait. I will try. I will never give up." The useful words and phrases that stayed in Rahim's mind during this harsh season were drought, the long time without rain; storm, the strong wind and dust; stay alive, his words to the plants; crying will not help, his reminder to himself; never give up, his guiding light. The season was hard. Rahim lost many crops. He lost many days of work, but he did not lose his spirit. He believed that the land was still his friend, and friends do not turn away forever. One evening, after many weeks of struggle, Rahim sat in front of his hut. The sky was dark. Far away he saw a small flash of light. It was lightning. Then another flash. His heart jumped. Could it be? Would the rain finally return?
The night sky rumbled. A thin line of lightning danced above the mountains. Rahim's tired eyes followed it. He prayed, "Please, let the rain come." The wind blew gently, and for the first time in many weeks, he felt cool air on his face. At dawn, the clouds gathered, the sky grew dark, and then, at last, rain began to fall. First, just a few drops, then more, then heavy, sweet rain poured down onto the thirsty land. The dry soil drank it like a gift from heaven. Rahim ran into the field. The rain soaked his clothes, his hair, his face, but he did not care. He lifted his hands and laughed. "The land is alive again. The land is alive." The rain did not solve everything. Many plants had already died, but the surviving ones lifted their small heads. Their leaves looked green again. The air smelled fresh, like hope. Still, Rahim knew he could not do everything alone. He needed new ideas. He needed new tools. He needed help. One morning, as Rahim walked to the village well, he met an old man. The man was a teacher who had once worked in the city. He had now returned to the village to help farmers learn better ways. His name was Mr. Anwar. Mr. Anwar asked Rahim, "How is your land?" Rahim sighed. "The drought and storm have taken most of my crops. I tried, but I could not save them." Mr. Anwar placed a hand on Rahim's shoulder. "Do not be sad. Many farmers lost crops this year. But remember, farming is not only about luck, it is also about learning. If you learn new methods, you can grow more, even in hard times." Rahim's eyes grew wide. "New methods? What do you mean?"
Mr. Anwar smiled. "Come to the community meeting this evening. I will show you." That evening, Rahim sat on the ground with many other farmers. Mr. Anwar showed them simple but powerful ideas. He taught them about rainwater collection, keeping rain in small ponds for dry days. He showed them crop rotation, planting different crops each season to keep the soil healthy. He spoke of fertilizer from compost, making natural food for the soil from waste. Rahim listened carefully. Each word felt like light. He thought, maybe this is the help I prayed for. After the meeting, Rahim asked Mr. Anwar many questions. Can I really grow crops even if the rain is late? Can compost make the soil strong again? Mr. Anwar nodded. Yes, Rahim, you can. Farming is not only about hands, it is also about the mind. If you use both, you will succeed. The next day, Rahim began to try. He dug a small pit near his hut to catch rainwater. He collected dry leaves, food waste, and cow dung to make compost. It smelled bad at first, but Mr. Anwar told him, "This is the smell of future food." Rahim laughed and continued. Soon, Rahim's neighbors saw what he was doing. Some laughed at him. One said, "Rahim, why do you waste time with this? Old ways are enough." Rahim smiled gently. "My friends, the old ways are good, but maybe new ways can save us from hunger." Slowly, a few neighbors became curious. They began to help him collect waste for compost. They asked questions about water pits. They listened to his small successes. Step by step, Rahim was not alone anymore. One evening, as Rahim was working, a young boy from the village brought him a bucket of dry leaves. "Uncle Rahim," the boy said, "I want to help. You always say, never give up. So I want to help you not give up." Rahim's eyes filled with tears. He touched the boy's head and whispered, "Thank you, my child. Hope grows when we share it." The useful words and phrases that Rahim practiced in this time were help, sometimes from people, sometimes from knowledge. New methods, fresh ideas to solve old problems. Rainwater collection, saving water for later. Compost, natural food for the soil. Hope grows when shared, Rahim's new lesson. Weeks passed. The new season began. Rahim planted seeds again, this time with compost in the soil. He prayed for rain, but he also felt stronger because he now had water saved in his pit. His heart felt lighter. He was no longer just a farmer with tired hands. He was a farmer with knowledge, with neighbors, and with hope. And hope, when shared, becomes power. Rahim's journey was moving towards something new. He had faced drought, storms, and hunger. But now, with help and new learning, he began to see the first light of success.
The new season began with quiet hope. Rahim walked across his field one morning and felt something different. The soil was softer. The air smelled fresh. His seeds, planted with compost and care, began to sprout. Little green shoots pushed through the brown earth, standing like soldiers ready for a new journey. Rahim bent down and touched the young plants. "Stay strong, my little ones," he whispered. "I will not give up on you." Day after day, he worked with patience. He carried water from his rain pit.
He spread compost gently around the roots. He pulled out weeds one by one. The sun was still hot, but Rahim did not complain. He remembered the drought. He remembered the storm. He had suffered, but he had learned. Weeks passed. The plants grew taller and greener. Their leaves were wide and shining. Rahim's neighbors began to notice. One man said, "Look at Rahim's field. It is healthier than ours." Another woman whispered, "His compost makes the plants strong. Maybe we should try it too." Slowly, more villagers visited Rahim. They asked questions. They watched his work. Some even asked for a little compost to test in their own fields. Rahim shared gladly. "If my field grows, your field can grow too." By the middle of the season, Rahim's field looked beautiful. Rows of green plants moved gently in the wind. Birds returned to the trees. Bees buzzed over the flowers. Life was back. Rahim's heart filled with joy. He stood in his field at sunset, watching the sky turn red and gold. "This is the reward of hope," he thought. "This is the reward of never giving up." But farming is not only about beauty, it is also about harvest. The true test came when the crops were ready to be gathered. Rahim woke up early on the harvest day. He took his basket and knife. He stepped into his field with careful feet. One by one, he cut the golden crops and placed them into his basket. His hands moved fast. His heart beat faster. By the end of the day, the baskets were full. The small hut outside his field was filled with food, grains, vegetables, fruits. More than he had expected, more than he had ever harvested before. Rahim sat down, his body tired, but his heart shining. He whispered, "Thank you, land. Thank you for trusting me again." The next day, Rahim carried his crops to the village market. The stalls were busy. People called out, "Fresh rice, fresh vegetables, sweet fruits." Rahim placed his goods on a mat. Customers came. They touched the grains. They smelled the vegetables. They smiled and said, "How healthy, how fresh." By afternoon, Rahim's mat was empty. Everything was sold. He held the money in his hands, but what he felt was more than money. He felt pride. He felt dignity. He felt success. When he returned home, children ran to him. "Uncle Rahim, did you sell everything?" they asked. Rahim laughed and nodded. "Yes, my children, hard work always gives fruit. Never give up." That evening, he invited his neighbors to share food. He cooked rice and vegetables from his field. They sat together, eating and talking. Rahim raised his cup of water and said, "My friends, we suffered a drought. We suffered a storm. But today we eat together because we did not give up. This harvest is not only mine, it is ours." The villagers clapped and cheered. They saw in Rahim's story their own story. They understood that farming, like life, is about patience, learning, and hope. The useful words and phrases Rahim repeated during his success were harvest, the time when hard work gives results; reward,
what comes after patience and effort. Fresh, the gift of healthy crops. Pride, the feeling of success after struggle. Never give up, the seed of all victory. As the night grew quiet, Rahim sat under the stars. He looked at his little hut, his family, his field. He thought, I am not rich in gold, I am not rich in clothes, but I am rich in heart. I am rich in hope. And hope was the greatest harvest of all.
The night was peaceful. The stars shone bright above the quiet village. Rahim sat outside his hut, listening to the soft sound of the wind moving through the trees. His heart was calm, but full of thought. He remembered the hard days. He remembered the drought when the land was dry and his heart was heavy. He remembered the storm when the wind broke his plants and almost broke his spirit. He remembered the nights he whispered to himself, "Never give up." And then he remembered the change, the rain that fell like a blessing, the help from Mr. Anwar, the new methods that gave life to his field again, the neighbors who joined him in hope, and finally, the harvest of success. Rahim closed his eyes and smiled. Life is like farming, he thought. There will always be dry days. There will always be storms, but there will also be rain. There will also be new ideas, and there will always be hope. The next morning, Rahim went to the village square. The people were busy. Some carried water. Some sold fruits. Some prepared for the next market day. Rahim stood in the middle and raised his voice gently. "My friends," he said, "I want to share something with you. You all know the struggles we faced this year. The drought, the storm, the hunger. We all suffered, but we also learned. We learned that we must never give up." The villagers stopped to listen. Rahim continued. "When the rain did not come, we felt weak, but we discovered rainwater collection. When the soil was tired, we felt hopeless, but we discovered compost. When our crops were broken, we felt lost, but we found strength in each other. This is the lesson. Hard work is important. Hope is important, but together they are strongest. Together they bring success." The people nodded. Some smiled. Some clapped. Children repeated his words, "Never give up! Never give up!" Rahim's eyes grew warm with tears, not tears of sadness, but of joy. He thought, the lesson has spread. The words will live on in their hearts. From that day, the phrase, "Never give up," became part of the village. The children said it while studying. The mothers said it while cooking. The fathers said it while working in the fields. It became the light of the community. Rahim's story is not only about a farmer, it is about life. It teaches us all something simple but powerful. When life is hard, remember hope. When you are tired, remember hard work. When you feel alone, remember help is near. When you fail, remember to try again.
And always, always remember, never give up. The useful words that echo at the end of this story are hope, the light that guides us, hard work, the hands that build our dreams, help, the support we find in others, try again, the courage to stand after falling. Rahim sat once more in his field. The sun was setting, painting the sky with gold. He whispered, "The land has taught me. The land has tested me. The land has blessed me, and I will keep walking forward, step by step, never giving up." This is not only Rahim's journey. This is a journey for you, for me, for anyone who struggles in life. Whatever your field may be, farming, studying, working, or dreaming, the lesson is the same. Life will test you. Life will break you. But if you hold on, if you stand up, if you never give up, life will also reward you. So, dear listener, keep these words close. Never give up. Your harvest will come.